right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I want to talk about today, classic physique, specifically Ramon Dino. So we got a posing update from Ramon at 2.5 weeks out from the Olympia, and I think this was a really impressive posing update, and I'll tell you why. I really think that Ramon deserves a little bit more hype than he's getting, and he gets a lot of hype. Now, we saw him on stage at the Arnold Classic recently, where he looked, I think, a lot bigger than some of the other guys in classic physique, and I don't think that translates as well in these photos and videos, considering how aesthetic he is, how small his waist is. He looks, I think, smaller in photos than he actually looks on stage when he's next to these guys, and I think that's a good thing. And I really think that in this update in particular, maybe it's the goon lighting, maybe it's the angle of the video, he really does remind me a lot of Mike Mentzer's physique. He's got like these really thick, dense forearms that kind of remind me of Mentzer. The way that he poses reminds me of Mentzer. That's kind of the classic physique that I'm most reminded of when I look at him. When you look at Bumstead, you might be reminded of Arnold. When you look at a guy like Terrence, you might be reminded of Danny Padilla. You might be reminded of Franco Colombo. That's what some of the shorter guys really kind of resemble. But I think that Ramon really has a balance of both. He's got a beautiful structure, which is exactly what they're looking for in classic physique, but he's got size to him. He really does. He's got some dense muscle to his physique along with that beautiful structure, and that's what I like about him, and that's what I like about the current classic physique class is they're all so different. You look at these top guys, Chris, Terrence, Breon, Ramon. They're all so different. They all bring something different to the table. You know, brings this crazy conditioning. That's what he's known for. I think he doesn't have the size that a guy like Ramon has, but he's got just this nutty conditioning. And you've got Terrence, who's got this world-class posing. He might not be the biggest guy on stage, but his posing is flawless. Then you've got Chris, this big, imposing, tall, thick guy that's coming at 15 pounds heavier this year. And that's what I love about classic. It truly is a real hearkening back to the old days, and every physique is so different. The standard for classic is so subjective. All these guys look very different. You don't know what's going to happen is what I'm trying to say. I think Ramon could be in that top 3 as well. Now I really do want to do a classic physique Olympia prediction video because it's an interesting class. It really is. And all these top guys, all these young up-and-comers, each of their strong points is different. For example, we did just get another update from Terrence Ruffin. So yesterday we talked about a guest posing from Terrence that was maybe around 5 weeks out. And then we just got another update late last night from Terrence that was at 2.5 weeks out. So both this update from Ramon and this update from Terrence are around the same time period, around 2.5 weeks out from the Olympia. And Terrence, I think, looks much more impressive, as he should, than he did at 5 weeks out, because Terrence is a guy that seems to really dial it in a lot faster in kind of that crunch time, in that 4 weeks out range. You really see some drastic transformations with Terrence. We've seen it in the past, and now you can really see he's getting kind of that deepness in that separation in his abs, that deep separation in his quads. But still not crazy conditioning, and that's what I meant about all these guys having such different attributes. Like is the conditioning guy. Ramon and Chris, they're more size guys. They're taller guys. And while Terrence's strength might not necessarily be conditioning or size, it's beautiful shape. It's great presentation. It's posing. It's a flawless structure. And I think this is a phenomenal front double bicep that shows off exactly what I'm talking about with Terrence's shape, his symmetry, the flow to his physique, the V-taper, the wide flaring lat, just the whole presentation of Terrence, the way he's got his leg angled in the pose. You can tell that Terrence is a master of presenting his physique, and that's why he's so good. Now, I also saw another physique update of Brandon Curry, if you could call it a physique update, and this came from his coach, Abdullah, and presumably this was taken the same day that it was posted because Abdullah posted his weight as well, even though he spelled weight wrong. He spelled it W-A-I-T instead of W-E-I-G-H-T. But he says that Brandon is weighing 120 kilos in this picture, or at least that's what's implied by that caption. Now, 120 kilos is about 265 pounds, 264.55 to be specific, which is actually pretty big for Brandon. That's a lot bigger than I think he usually comes in. I think Brandon is usually around high 240s, maybe low 250s. So 265 is a bigger version of Brandon for sure. And maybe that kind of validates the point that I was making in the last video where we talked about that physique update from Brandon, is by all accounts, people that have seen Brandon at expos or people that have seen Brandon in person during this Olympia prep, even though he hasn't posted a lot of updates, I'm hearing the same thing from everybody. He looks bigger than ever. He looks round and full, and he just looks like balloony is one of the terms that I heard. So that's kind of the curiosity that I have with Brandon, is how well is he going to do based on, is he playing the size game to try to keep up with Rami? Because I felt that his conditioning slipped a little bit at the Arnold Classic, and I saw some comments saying, well, he really knew what he had to do for the Arnold. It wasn't the Olympia. He did just enough to win. And maybe that's true, but I felt like the conditioning slipping there, if you combine that with him maybe playing the size game from Rami, he needs to come in better condition. That was the thing where I really felt like he was slipping at the Arnold specifically. So I worry about the possibility of him playing the size game now, because I feel like that could hurt him at the Olympia, but I'm not sure what he's doing. All I know is 265 pounds this close to the Olympia is really big for Brandon, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Now, the final story that I have for you guys today is this latest physique update from Hunter Labrada at 2.5 weeks out from the Olympia. He's training here, and you can see him hit a couple poses at the end of this clip. Now, Hunter is a guy that I feel like is a true wild card at the Olympia. In my prediction video, I had him taking 7th, moving him all the way back from 4th place last year. I felt that Nick Walker is going to move ahead of him this year. A lot of people felt like Nick Walker should have been ahead of him last year, but I think this is going to be... It's a really tough one to predict. I also had Bonac in 8th, which I wasn't super confident about either. I'm not super confident about Hunter in 7th, but I just think there's so many new guys this year, and I think Hunter's placing a 4th was so controversial last year that maybe the judges will reevaluate that decision this year when he is in these callouts next to some of these bigger guys, next to some of these newer guys, maybe more conditioned guys. But I suppose there's also the potential that Hunter could improve, but I just really don't see him cracking the top 3 this year and moving up from 4th. So I think it's more likely that he's going to move back. I don't even see Nick Walker cracking the top 3. I had Nick in 4th, but I really find it hard to believe. I just think this current cluster that we have of Hadi Chupin, Big Ramy, and Brandon Curry, I think that cluster will remain. I think they're going to change placings. I think Ramy's going to win, Hadi will be 2nd, and Brandon will be 3rd. So I think that cluster will intermingle a little bit. But I think somebody would have to be looking absolutely nuts to come in and replace Hadi or replace Brandon to be in that top 3 conversation. I do think we have a really solid top 3, and we have had a really solid top 3 the past couple of years, and I just don't see it being broken. However, I do suppose anything is possible, and maybe this is the year that Hunter is the one that breaks it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. That's going to wrap it up for the video tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Just a quick one tonight. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power, my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my 3rd YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.